Today is August 23rd, 2016, and this is the PandaDoc plus CRM equals a powerful combinations webinar. My name is James, and I'm the technical manager here at PandaDoc, and we'll be going through and talk about all the great deals and options that we have for the CRM integration with PandaDoc. This will also be an open live Q&A session, so if you do have some questions along the way, let me know. So first of all, what is a CRM? So if we go out and do a Google search for CRM, a CRM is also known as a customer relationship management. It is a term that refers to practices, strategies, and technologies that companies use to manage or analyze customer interaction and data throughout the customer's life cycle, with the goal of improving business relationships with customers and all that great information. Now, why is it important to use a CRM? Now, a CRM is also known as a source of information, right? Where you're going to put all your contact information, right? Where you're going to put all your company information. And the idea of having that one place, that one-stop shop for that, so you can always know where your contacts are, so you're not searching through multiple different maybe email address books or old ways of Rolodexes, all sorts of things. It's a one-stop shop in order for all your contact information. Now, I get asked this all the time, what is a good CRM for me, James? Well, that's difficult for me to say or provide, why or which CRM is better than another, because they're all great CRMs. This all really depends on what your needs are as for an individual business. What type of business are you needing? Are you going to have them product information, maybe send some product information like the things that you're trying to sell? Are you looking for reporting options, right? All that's available depend on each of the CRMs that you use. Now, with PandaDoc, we've decided over the past 2 years or so to work with these individual integrations, with each one of these individual CRMs, because of multiple different reasons. So the very first reason, of course, is that why did we create these? And we created these because of the quality of the CRM, how long they have been in business, but also more importantly, the number of feedback or requests that we got from our existing clients and customers of how their CRM would be helpful to be used with inside of PandaDoc. Now, there's going to be a couple different places we're going to take you through to find these PandaDoc solutions inside of for PandaDoc. First, of course, is in our website. And if we go into our website right here, we go into product, and then we go into integrations, which I'll go ahead and put this in our chat as well. Be sure to hang on to that and bookmark that site. Here's where you can find all the details and all the current integrations that we have for PandaDoc. Now, these include Salesforce and HubSpot, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, which is a brand new one as of a few months ago, Pipedrive, Sugar CRM, Insightly, ProsperWorks, Zoho, Salesforce IQ, Base CRM, Close.io, Nimble, Capsule, Nutshell, and then we have some others for Xero, Stripe, and Zendesk as well. If you go into each one of these individuals, for example, go into HubSpot here, over here on the left-hand side is going to give some detailed information, so what's included, what we can do with this. You also find some detailed information, some screenshots available as well to kind of get you started in that process, what's all about. Also, inside of our website, if we go all the way down at the bottom of the screen down here, we go into something here called our FAQs, and you click into that, it'll take you into this page right here. Inside of our fully detailed FAQ center, you're going to find all this great details and the information, help you out with everything that you have to do with inside of PandaDoc. If you have some questions about e-signatures or using our pricing tables. But over here on the left-hand side, underneath integrations, you go to CRM integrations. And in here, down at the bottom, we have all these integrations here. All you need to click is Show All. And then, for example, you can go through each one of these. For example, I'm going to choose HubSpot here just as an example. But you can go in here. We also have a video that you can watch. It'll take you through, step by step of how to do it, and a full detailed FAQ article to really break this down to help you understand what this integration does. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk with you about today as well of the things that we can do with these integrations. Now, each of these integrations, how we connect data or pass data from the source, right, which is the CRM, and pass this information over to PandaDoc so we can get those documents sent out very quickly, and of course track those documents as well. So also inside of the application itself, I'm logged into PandaDoc here. Over here on the left-hand side, we can go down into settings. And then we're going to go into something called integrations, which we'll have right here. And here is all the integrations that are available that you can connect to your account. Very simple, very easily to click on it. And over here on the top right-hand side, it's going to give you some information to get started. Now, we have many different variations of integrations, depends on who the CRM is. For example, for Salesforce Example, we have a very specific install version of the integration, or what you need to install PandaDoc inside of Salesforce. Some of the other integrations we have, such as Pipedrive, for example, is we use these things called Google Chrome extensions. And these are what you need to do is you need to use Google Chrome in order for this integration to work between the CRM and the PandaDoc, but it all basically works exactly the same way by using this thing called the PandaDoc module that will show up inside the CRM. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into a template over here on the left-hand side here that I created today. So I'm inside of a template. And I have this template that I created today. You'll see all the different information in the background and all that type of stuff as well. And what I want to do is talk with you about how we can define our templates to be the simplest and easiest way to be able to pass information over from the CRM to PandaDoc. Now, the very first thing we want to talk about is something over here on the right-hand side. We want to talk about something here called roles. And inside of role here, you notice that I've created a role here called decision maker. Now, for some of the CRMs, the roles have to match up between PandaDoc and the CRM, and others, you can have any role that you want. For example, customer or signer. And the idea about using roles is used for twofold. First, it creates these things called tokens that we can use to auto-populate information or ways to pass over the contact information from that specific CRM into PandaDoc. Over here on the right-hand side, we'll go up to content, and then I'm going with something called tokens. And you notice because we have this role here, we have a decision maker role, and within that, we get 4 tokens for this role. That is first name, last name, email address, and company. And you notice that we have a little ×2 next to each one of these because I'm using these here as part of my template to populate this information when we create our documents. So here, for example, is our cover page, and you notice I've used some tokens here that I dropped in here to pass this information over. As we scroll down, here's some different types of content that I've created with this template today. And there's some different variations of tokens that you could use in there. Down here at the bottom as a part of my proposal acceptance information, I'm also using those roles to populate the name and company information as well. Now, the other piece, the thing about using roles is how important it is for these things we have called fields. Now, what are fields? Fields are basically a way for our clients to assign to them to populate that information or to capture that information from them. For example, if we wanted to capture their signature or capture their initials, we can set this up at a template level with roles so it's all automatically connected. So over here on the left-hand side, once again, as part of my content, you notice I've added 2 roles here. So first is something called the acceptance of the pricing table, and I have a role here, and I assign that to the decision maker role. Because all we need to do is when we connect this to the CRM, it's going to pass over the contact information to automatically fill at the document level, and in turn, these fields will be associated with that contact. One of the best ways to save time by using roles. You'll also notice I've also included a signature field here. And once again, here's my signature field, and I make sure that I've signed this to the decision maker role as well. Once again, when we pass that contact piece over, it's going to associate with that contact, of course, with these fields as well. Once again, to save time, I'll go through and I'll give an example of what that looks like. The other things that we have with some of our CRMs, including Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Sugar CRM, and so forth, as we also have the ability to pass over the pricing or product information from that specific CRM to PandaDoc as well. So I've created a pricing table here. Over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to settings, and as I scroll down here, what we have this option right here is called automatically add products to this table. And then all that you need to do with that is simply put that down to the on position, and now this pricing table is ready to accept product information coming from the CRM over to PandaDoc, okay? So what I'm going to do real quickly here is we have this proposal here, this template that I created today. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to take you through Salesforce just as an example of how passing this information over from the CRM to PandaDoc works. So what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to go into my opportunity. So here I am inside of my Salesforce account, and I'm inside of an opportunity. Now, each of these CRMs that we'll work with basically have different types of objects, such as lead or accounts or contacts or opportunities. Now, that is going to be specific for the CRM because each CRM is, unique to how they built that individual software. But that's how for these types of objects that we have. So first, of course, for our opportunity information, basically what you're going to see here is something called the PandaDoc module after you get it installed. Now, each of the integrations that we have will also show the PandaDoc modules such as HubSpot, Zoho, and Pipedrive. So there's a couple of different things that we need to do in order to pass over different types of information other than the contact information. So what we have is this also fully described in the FAQ as well, is that inside of my module here, I go over here on the right-hand side and I click on the gear icon. It's going to tell me which PandaDoc account I'm logged into. But all that we need to do is go into something called tokens. And in here, each of these, once again, is going to be specific for the CRM. But each one of these is going to have all these different types of token information that we could use if we want to pass this information over from the CRM directly into the PandaDoc system. Now, let's say, for example, we have many different types of tokens available for Salesforce, and many, other the CRM integrations, like I said, HubSpot, Zoho, Pipedrive, have many different types of tokens that you could use, and also use custom fields and all that type of stuff as well as part of the installation and setup for each of the integrations. But let's say, for example, we want to pass over some information about the account billing address, right? All that we would need to do is highlight that individual token, go into our template, and then of course we can paste this information somewhere, right? So let's say down here, for example, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to put it included within this, and I'm going to put in the address information. So give me 1 second here, put this in here, address, and put a colon, then I'm going to paste that token in here, okay? So now we have this extra token here, the count.billing address, is going to pass over from Salesforce. Now, if we go into our tokens as well, and now go into our custom tokens, we can see how we now can use this custom token, and in turn I can use that again and again and again throughout different locations across your template that you want to populate that information. So you notice for this one I've also included owner title, which is I have included this at the top of my cover page, and then of course the account billing address. So let's go back into Salesforce once again. So that's how we can pass field information over by using tokens. Of course, those contact information, so part of this opportunity, I have one contact here by the name of James M. Company name is ABC Company, and my email address. And this is also the other information that will pass over directly into PandaDoc as well as part of the CRM integration is set up. Also, we have product information as well. So here's an example of a product or an item that I want to pass over into the PandaDoc pricing table. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back into my PandaDoc document, and I'm going to click on New Document. And what this is going to fire up PandaDoc, and the very first thing, of course, I need to choose the template that I want to use today. So the new template's up here. So here's all my previous templates that I have created in the past. So many different templates. Sky's the limit for the number of templates you can have. But over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to choose this productivity sample proposal with CRM data. So you notice the very first thing that shows you is that role setups. Remember that role that we created at the template level called the decision maker. And because we set this up, here's that contact information is automatically being connected to that role, which in turn will automatically populate that information at now the document level after we click on Start Editing. So here we now are at the document level. So no longer at the template level, but the document level. So over here on the right-hand side, here we go. Here's this information that we just populated. We go into tokens over here as well. And we can click on each one of these tokens that we know it was automatically populated. We can always double check that if that information is correct, right? So also here's that one field or the custom field I put in there called account title. But else we go down to the account billing address, just right here, would automatically populate it over. So you can kind of start to see now how useful these integrations can be by passing that data over. Remember those fields that we talked about, that signature field or in that initial field that we talked about. Because we did it with a role, right, now this recipient is automatically associated with the field initials and of course with the field signature as well. Once again, in order to help you save time, right? So definitely think about using roles for tokens to populate information from the CRM, but also for those fields as well, signature, initial, and so forth. And then finally, as you see here, here's my pricing table that I've set up inside of my template to accept data from the individual CRM, from Salesforce, to populate that information right here. Now, at the document level, of course, we have all these great features inside of PandaDoc, so be sure to play around with all the different types of blocks to create your content. You can also use all the fields to capture information, so include to add those fields in your documents as well. Over here on the right-hand side, we also have something called a library, or the content library and library with images, which are available as part of our business and enterprise packages. And basically what the content library is, it allows you to save pieces of content and data from previous versions that you created in the past, save to the content library, so you can drop that information in there very quickly. For example, if we want to include a video, all we need to do is simply drag it and drop it in there. So there's an example of a content library item. So definitely think about using that. You might ask, hey, so how do I make this design like what you have there, James? Well, over here on the right-hand side, we go down into more and then go into something called design. Inside you have some themes that you can set up and go into those individual themes. And here's where you can really change the look and the feel of what your documents are going to be looking like. Especially if you plan on using, PandaDoc for proposals, quotations, those types of things, I certainly do recommend that you get yourself a theme going. More importantly, your color theme. So does your company have a color theme? If so, I recommend that you set up. That's going to update those pricing tables that we talked about. For example, that color right there, it's that black color. So it kind of makes everything pop, everything more professional. This background image here, where you see all these black rocks here, here's where you can update this information for the background image as well and add that little extra pizzazz. With that, of course, we also have some advanced custom CSS options as well if you want to check all that out. So be sure to take a look at more, design, and theme to play around with all those great options that we have with that. So let's get back now. So back to the integration piece. We send this information over. We're still inside of Salesforce here. But let's say, hey, we're all ready to go. The document looks great. Let's go ahead and send it out. So all we need to do now is click send. And we go ahead and put in here a name of the document, so called a quote for James. And let's go ahead and put the date on here so we all know what this one is about. And then we click on save and continue. The next screen that pops up here is the send document message window to send this document out from PandaDoc to your recipient. First here you got the subject line here. You can modify this to put whatever information that you could show up on here. Of course, you have additional optional message that you want to include in here as well. Definitely check out these save messages now. We have a new save messaging option inside of PandaDoc where you can create a save messages and then, of course, use them for previous versions that you have created. So I'm going to drop here my example message. Here we are going to populate this information, and all we need to do now is click on this, send the document. Once we do that, we're going to get a notification screen that the document has been sent, and we can just simply close out of that. So now the document's been sent out to my recipient, but what the best thing about most of our integrations that we have is that now if you go back into, for example, our Salesforce opportunity where we started this process from, we scroll down and look at this PandaDoc module. Here's this document that we've just created. And this is one of the best features that we have because now by using this integration, you can always track where the document is, what status that document is. So you know if it was a draft or if it's a sent, or our customers viewed it, or the customers completed it, using those e-signature tools. Those will be tracked by the status as well. And at any time, in turn, you can click on that individual document, and it's going to fire up right inside of your PandaDoc account to open up that document and then view that information. So of course, once the document's been sent out, the other thing is you could do inside of PandaDoc, of course, is keep track of that. And we have a couple different things we can do that. Of course, we have activity. So inside of activity, we have comments, audit trail, and actions, of course. You can go through and add comments and send them out to your recipients. The audit trail as well. So if you want to have some more specific details of when that status happened, right? You can go to a draft and to a sent status, and it'll also be tractable there as well. Go ahead and open up a new window here and go to HubSpot, because I know a lot of you are using HubSpot out there. Very first thing you always want to do is do a search for our FAQ to find HubSpot. Open that up, and then each of these FAQs that we've created for our integrations, if you scroll down here, is also going to provide some detailed information about some custom field or tokens that you could use straight from here as well. These are the standard fields that HubSpot uses, so be sure to take a look at that. If that is still not the case, it might be some specific information with custom fields. But yeah, if you want to take a look at real quickly, we can gain access to HubSpot real quickly. Let me show an example of what our Chrome extensions are. Chrome extensions are set up for some of our integrations that we have. Be sure to take a look at it in our FAQ guides of how each of individual integration does work. But for HubSpot here, for example, is a PandaDoc Chrome extension. So what we have here in the top right-hand side is that we're going to go ahead and open up an opportunity. There's going to be a deal inside of HubSpot here. But over here on the right-hand side, here's that PandaDoc module, right? So just like in Salesforce, we have this module here that shows here. In our Chrome extensions, our modules are going to show up here on the right-hand side, right? But it basically works the exact same way, meaning that if you go into the gear icon and then go into tokens, here's going to be all the token information that you can pass over from HubSpot or from the specific CRM into PandaDoc itself, right? Once again, all you need to do is highlight that individual token, copy it, go into your template, paste that token in there to pass that information over. So for example, HubSpot here, HubSpot has a couple additional functionalities, so be sure to take a look at that. You do have the ability to send over the contact information, field information shows over here on the left-hand side, custom fields as well. Let me go and give you an example of what that looks like. So I'm going to click on Create New Document here. Here's the PandaDoc module still loaded in here as well. I'm going to choose a specific template that I have for this integration called HubSpot Master. One second, here it is. So once again, here's those roles that we talked about before, right? So here is because we have multiple different of information to be passed over from HubSpot. We can set this up. So here's the contact who's going to be my signer, and the sender is going to be the person who owns the deal inside of HubSpot. So we can certainly set that up. We click on Start Editing, and in turn, now we're inside of the document itself. Here's some information that automatically populates this information. Here's some examples of the first name, last name, email address, account, company information passed over, deal information passed over as well. So it really depends on the specific integration that you're using. So like I said, today's webinar is really about giving you some ideas, giving you some best practices, tips and tricks in order to send that information over. So once again, think about using roles as your templates. This will help you out immensely and in turn save you time for that. One of the things that we really strive for here at PandaDoc is we really want to make sure that each and every one of you knows how to use the system to the fullest extent. Some of you are paying on the monthly option, or some are paying you on the annual option. And if you're anything like me, you want to know how to use the software all the way, right? Because you want to gain the best features, you want to understand the best features, the best use cases, best tips and tricks of how to use PandaDoc, right? Well, we do that by multiple things. First, of course, we have a fully detailed FAQ here, once again, under FAQs. So once again, be sure to check them out, go through that information. There's a lot of great videos and content and information in there. As well, down here in the bottom right-hand side, if you go into a green help icon, go into this. Here's also some information about our FAQs as well. This is really a great way to find it real quickly. So if you want to know what HubSpot is all about, do a search for HubSpot, boom, it'll take you right through it step by step and walk you through that process. But if you're still having any difficulties after that, you're always welcome to reach out to our contact our support, and then in turn start a new conversation, send us a message, say, hey, I got some questions about this and this and this. Please let me know how we can help. So, and that's one of the things that we have a very well trained support staff, very patient staff to help you out with any questions that you do have. I hope you found the webinar informative today. Be sure to grab those handouts, that's part of GoToMeeting. That certainly might help you as well. With using PandaDoc going forward. We will have some upcoming webinars here in the fall, so be on the lookout for those. We'll be sending out some emails. And if you do have any questions, concerns, or reaching out to us, please reach out to us. We'll do our best to take care of you and make sure you're all happy and you're all great and good to go. We thank you so much for attending on the webinar, and you all have a fantastic afternoon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.